Hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about 1099 non-employee compensation form filing requirement. The deadline is fastly approaching. So the filing deadline is usually January 31st. Since it falls on a weekend, you get some time. So the deadline for 2026 will be February 2nd, 2026. So we will quickly discuss about who needs to file a 1099 NEC form, who needs to file a miscellaneous form, who are not required, when are you not required to file a 1099 NEC form. So that's what we are going to talk about. Who needs to file a 1099 non-employee compensation form? Business owners, who hire subcontractors and they make payments more than $600. If you made $600 or more to an individual subcontractor in 2025, then you're required to file a Form 1099 non-employee compensation form. Now you need to, whenever you're hiring subcontractors, make sure you're having them complete a W-9 form and keep those forms for your records. It will be handy when you're filing the 1099 NEC forms. So if you hired an independent contractor, freelancer, vendor, or for any other professional services, consulting individuals, then you are making more than $600 and you made more than $600 in payments in 2025, then you're required to issue this form. Now the threshold amount is changing for 2026. So 2026, the income threshold will be $2,000 or more. But right now we are just talking about the 2025 filing requirement. So if you made payments more than $600, then you're required to file the Form 1099 NEC for 2025 tax year. When are you not required to file a 1099 NEC? Like if you hired a subcontractor and paid under $600, you're not required to issue them a 1099 NEC form. And if you're making payments to corporations, then you're not required to issue a form. And if the payment is personal, of course, that's not even a business transaction. This is an important point. Payments made via third party, like, if you're using a credit card or debit card for making the payments, or if you paid through PayPal, Stripe, Venmo, then these payment processors also track these payments and they will be filing Form 1099K for all the transactions that were processed through their system. So they will issue a 1099K. In those situations, you are not required to file a 1099 NEC. And if you do, basically you're duplicating the income for the subcontractor. So make sure, you're not filing a 1099 NEC for any kind of payments made through a third party network. And if you are making payment for goods, like if you're purchasing inventory and things like that, then you're not required to issue a 1099 NEC. So you need to know when you're required to issue a 1099 NEC. So these are the situations when you're not required to file a 1099 NEC. Oftentimes people get confused with the 1099 miscellaneous and 1099 non-employee compensation form. So the non-employee compensation form is usually when you are making a payment for a service. But when you make a payment for a non-service income, then you issue a 1099 miscellaneous. Like, for example, rent, rent income, you issue a 1099 miscellaneous form. If you're receiving any kind of prizes and awards, royalty income, and most of the time we have these health insurance payments proceeds, those also gets reported under a 1099 miscellaneous. When you're making payments to attorneys for settlements, those also fall under 1099 miscellaneous. Now you should not get confused with the payments paid to attorneys for their services. So if you're taking actual legal services like a legal consultation, that will fall under 1099 NEC. But if you're, making a payment as part of a settlement, then that goes on the 1099 miscellaneous. So these are all some of the differences between 1099 miscellaneous and 1099 non-employee compensation form. I hope anyone that is this video will help you all understand between the differences, and anyone that is required to file a 1099 non-employee compensation form or miscellaneous form, make sure you're filing those before the deadline. Thank you so much. Have a good day.